Calvary greetings to you, brethren. I'm delighted and excited to come your way again this hour. I want to use this opportunity to extend my profound gratitude to the presiding chancellor, the deputy chancellors, both in administration and academics, the respected board of regents, faculty members, program director, course advisor, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adegoke Oludotoleke Newton, a PhD student of Church Administration and Management at Real Life Christian College and Seminary. In today's presentation, we shall look into the topic, Critique of Welfare Evangelism from a Secular Perspective, and we shall be exploring criticism of welfare evangelism from secular viewpoints, including concerns about coercion, manipulation, and cultural imperialism. This paper scrutinizes welfare evangelism from a secular angle, probing issues such as coercion and cultural imperialism. It blends evangelism with aid-raising ethical dilemmas, drawing on scholarly insight. It explores conflict with secular values and suggests ways to promote ethical engagement between religious and secular groups. In the introduction, we look basically at the welfare evangelism, combining evangelistic efforts with humanitarian aid is viewed with both admiration and skepticism, particularly from secular viewpoints. Rooted in Christianity, it seeks to address both spiritual and material needs, believing that meeting immediate needs alongside sharing the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ enhances receptiveness from the people one is preaching to. Critics voice concern about coercion and manipulation, and they also talk about the issue of cultural imperialism, suggesting that it may exploit vulnerable populations and perpetuate unequal power dynamics. Despite controversies, proponents argue for its effectiveness in fostering holistic development. So the research aims to critically examine welfare evangelism from a secular lens, analyzing ethical implications, effectiveness, and the intersectionality of religious and secular values. Objectives include assessing ethical challenges, exploring outcomes, understanding values, and proposing recommendations for ethical conduct and collaboration. So through rigorous analysis, the study seeks to contribute to the discourse on religion, ethics, and humanitarian actions. In chapter 2, which is basically about understanding welfare evangelism, we say welfare evangelism is blending evangelistic outreach with humanitarian aid, addressing both material and spiritual needs concurrently within a given community. Rooted in Christian tradition, it reflects a holistic view of human well-being. Scholars like Mark Grant, Fee, Stout, Wright, Stazer, and Putman offers insight into its definition, component, historical background, evolution, and theoretical foundations. Historically, welfare evangelism traces back to the early Christian community where they emphasize on compassion and service. McGrath highlights the continuity of Christian charity from the teachings of our Lord Jesus Christ to the practice of the early disciples. Moreover, Fee and Stout elaborate on the biblical mandate to love one's neighbor as oneself, as has been fulfilled in the Great Commission by meeting both immediate and the eternal needs of an individual. In modern times, welfare evangelism has evolved into formalized initiative through churches, mission organizations, and charitable institutions, just to mention a few. Right Notes is dynamic expression in local outreach programs and global humanitarian efforts, emphasizing its adaptability to changing society context. Theoretical framework supporting welfare evangelism drew on theological perspective, emphasizing the interconnectedness of a physical and spiritual well-being. Staza and Putman, they stress the integration of evangelism with social action, reflecting the biblical imperative to care for the entire man. In chapter 3, which is basically about critique of the welfare evangelism from a secular perspective, in the analysis of welfare evangelism from a secular point of view, scholars have highlighted significant concern regarding coercion, manipulation, and cultural imperialism, which is inherent in such practices. Critics argue that combining evangelistic effort with humanitarian aid may advantageously undermine the autonomy and the agency of aid recipients. Concerns of coercion and manipulation, which is a major theme that is being discussed, secular critics, including Sen, highlight the coercive nature of evangelistic effort with humanitarian aid distribution, where aid may be offered contingent upon participation in religious activities. Such coercion violates the principles of voluntariness and may exploit vulnerable individuals, denying them the freedom to make their own choices in an informed manner and based on their belief systems. Emotional appeals and psychological manipulation tactics further compound these concerns, as noted by scholars like Kinnaman and Lyons. The other issue is the issue of ethical dilemma in humanitarian aid. The instrumentalization of aid for evangelistic purpose raises ethical dilemma, instrumentalizing the suffering of AIDS recipients and infringing upon their right to receive assistance without discrimination or coercion. AIDS, using aid as a means of religious conversion can also violate individuals' right to religious freedom, coercing them into adopting specific beliefs against their will. McGrath and Oxfam emphasize the importance of upholding principles of religious freedom and autonomy to ensure ethical humanitarian action. Then we're going to look at the issue of cultural imperialism and ethical relativism. Welfare evangelism's imposition of Western-centric religious values on indigenous culture raises concern about cultural imperialism and ethical relativism. Critics argue that such imposition erodes cultural diversity and perpetuates systems of dominance and oppression. Fowler and Sen advocate for respecting cultural diversity while upholding universal principle of justice and dignity. In chapter 4, we delve into the impact and implication of welfare evangelism, scrutinizing both its positive outcome and potential harm, as well as its challenges to secular humanitarian principles and the intersectionality of religious and secular values. Let's start with the positive outcomes. Welfare evangelism is acknowledged for providing essential aid to marginalized communities, offering food, offering shelter, offering healthcare services, and also education. It instills hope and community cohesion among recipients, thereby enhancing social resilience. However, scholars like McGrath emphasize the necessity of critically evaluating this impact to mitigate potential harm. Let's look at the challenges to secular humanitarian principles. Welfare evangelism presents challenges to secular humanitarian principles, notably neutrality and impartiality. This concerns that religious motivations may introduce biases in aid distribution, compromising the impartiality required in humanitarian action. Upholding secular principles, as advocated by Oxfam, become crucial to ensure aid reaches those in need, irrespective of religious affiliation. Intersectionality of religious and secular values. The chapter explores the interplay between religious and secular values in welfare evangelism. Tensions arise regarding the balance between religious freedom and human rights, necessitating clear ethical guidelines. However, there are opportunities for collaboration between religion and secular actors as both play vital roles in humanitarian efforts. Sen advocates for a pluralistic approach that leverages the strength of all stakeholders to address global challenges. In Chapter 5, we provide recommendations and ethical consideration for welfare evangelism to address concerns raised earlier and promote responsible practices in evangelistic mission. The first is promoting informed consent and agency. It emphasizes prioritizing informed consent and agency among aid recipients. Evangelistic organizations are urged to provide transparent information, offer opportunities for questions and answers forum, and concerns, respect individuals' right to decline participation if need be, and empower them to voice their preference and also their needs. And we also look at the issue of fostering cultural sensitivity and respect for autonomy. This section underscores the importance of cultural sensitivity and autonomy, especially in cross-cultural context. So evangelistic organizations are advised to invest in cross-cultural training, collaborate with the local leaders, prioritize cultural autonomy, and address power imbalance to build meaningful relationship with the communities that they are involved with. Engaging in dialogue and collaboration. Dialogue and collaboration between religions and secular organizations are deemed quite essential because evangelistic organizations are encouraged to seek partnership, embrace humility in dialogue, prioritize aid recipients' well-being, and advocate for ethical standards to ensure the integrity and the effectiveness of evangelical missions. These recommendations aim to uphold dignity, autonomy, and cultural sensitivity, fostering trust and collaboration between evangelistic organization and community they serve while promoting ethical engagement in welfare evangelism. In the concluding chapter, we summarize the key findings and insights from our analysis of welfare evangelism from a secular point of view. We highlight the need to critically examine the ethical consideration and challenges inherent in combining evangelistic effort with humanitarian aid, emphasizing the importance of ethical engagement and collaboration between religious and secular actors in humanitarian efforts. We advocate for upholding human rights, human dignity, and the autonomy in all aspects of welfare evangelism. Throughout the paper, we explore concerns such as coercion, manipulation, and cultural imperialism in evangelistic mission, as well as the impact on recipients, community, and individuals. Insights include the necessity of transparency and accountability. We also look at the issue of cultural sensitivity and the respect for autonomy and the adherence to secular humanitarian principles. We offer recommendations for ethical engagement including promoting informed consent and agency, fostering cultural sensitivity, and engaging in dialogue and collaboration. In conclusion, our analysis underscores the significance of examining welfare evangelism through a secular lens and advocate for responsible and respectful practices. By adhering to ethical principles and fostering collaboration between religious and secular organizations, welfare evangelism can contribute to positive social changes and the well being of the community at large. We hope this research stimulate further dialogue and research on the ethical dimensions of welfare evangelism, advancing our understanding and practices of humanitarian aid in today's complex world. Thanks for listening, and God bless you.